So with the release of Batman Hush, there are now 34 total movies under the moniker of DC Universe Original Movies. So I'll be ranking the ones I've seen in a tier list. There's only 3 I haven't seen, and I've shown you those. The 2 Green Lantern movies and Superman Unbound, I just haven't gotten around to seeing those yet. But there are a total of 31 films in this universe that I have seen. I don't know why I say universe, because not all these are connected, but with all that being said, let's go ahead and get into this list. Okay, so I just rearranged these films so they'd be in order of release date. So we're going to start with Superman Doomsday. I really don't like this movie that much. I thought the first half was fine, but it got really weird and not good in the latter half, I think. I don't even remember much about it, and I watched this about 3 months ago, so that kind of speaks volumes to how the film is. Death of Superman does the story much better, and I'll be talking about that film later. But for now, I'm going to put Superman Doomsday in the D tier. I think it's a lesser film when it comes to DC animated movies. Justice League The New Frontier, I really like this, and I kind of like how the social commentary still speaks today. It's something that's going to stand the test of time because what they're talking about is political and it's always going to be a problem in our society. But it really respects the Silver Age of comics and shows tribute to that, which I really enjoy. It's just a good movie overall. I think it kind of begins to fall apart in the third act. I wouldn't necessarily say fall apart, but the build-up to the third act is a lot better than the actual third act. The climax of the movie isn't the best, I don't think. I think everything that came before was actually better. So for that, I'm going to put it in the B tier. It's a really solid movie, but I think the climax could have been better. Batman Gotham Knight. I haven't rewatched this one in a while, and I don't really want to. It just doesn't interest me. It's 6 different stories in one movie, and I don't really like something like that. I like when episodes of TV shows do that, but if you're going to do a whole movie, why do 6 different stories that are only 10 minutes apiece? I want to see one cohesive story in a 1-hour movie. So I'm going to put Gotham Knight in the D tier. It is one of my least favorite Batman films. Now, Wonder Woman, I really love Wonder Woman. I'm glad we're getting another Wonder Woman animated movie finally later this year. It only took 10 years to get there, but we're finally getting another Wonder Woman animated movie, and this film did a lot for the live-action Wonder Woman. The live-action movie really kind of took this as a guide, and it shows because some just shot for shot, you can tell they took inspiration from this movie because it was so well made. I think Steve Trevor's and Wonder Woman's dynamic is great. The conflict with Ares and the Themyscirians is set up extremely well at the beginning of the film and paid off. Wonder Woman's progression throughout is great. Just overall a solid film. I don't think it's quite S tier, so I'm going to put it in the A tier. Superman Batman Public Enemies. I like this more than the other Superman Batman movie, which we'll get to in a moment. But it's a fun movie. I don't think it has too much depth to it. I really like Bruce's and Clark's dynamic throughout, and Lex Luthor's the main villain, so I don't know. I like Lex in a lot of these movies. I think they do Lex good for the most part. So I enjoy it because of that, and Amanda Waller I also enjoy in this movie. But really, there's not much depth to the story. There's not really much to get invested in, so I think it's a middle-of-the-road kind of movie, so I'm going to put it in the C tier. Justice League Crisis on Two Earths. I think this is probably the best movie we've gotten to so far. It's about to be top, just spoiler warning, but this is a really great Justice League movie. I really like the Crime Syndicate. This is the only movie we've gotten with the Crime Syndicate, actually. The only thing I can recall that has showcased the Crime Syndicate. Haven't seen them in another show or an animated series, which is shocking. The Justice Lords is in Justice League, which was originally supposed to be the Crime Syndicate, but that evolved into this movie. Really love Batman, love all the Justice League members, love the differences between the Crime Syndicate and the Justice League that showcase as well. Like how Slade's the president. I like everything about this movie, how Lex Luthor is a good guy on the other Earth. I don't know if I can put it S tier or not, because just some of these other movies that I know I'm going to have in the S tier, I think are just on a whole nother level compared to most of these, so I'm going to put it in the A tier for now. Now, Batman Under the Red Hood, this is my absolute favorite of the DC Universe animated original movies. I do like one more Batman movie more than this, and that's Return of the Joker, which isn't a part of this, but I only like that movie so much because I have such a strong nostalgic connection to it. I grew up watching that movie. I didn't grow up watching Batman Under the Red Hood, so I don't have that connection, and I can tell you, I like it nearly as much as I do that movie. Just the story is done amazingly. John DiMaggio is one of my favorite Jokers. Jensen Ackles as Red Hood is phenomenal voice casting, just phenomenal voice casting all throughout. Batman and Nightwing's dynamic is done extremely well. Batman and Jason's dynamic is done great. Ra's al Ghul is incorporated into the story extremely well. Just flawless storytelling throughout, fleshed out characters. This is an S tier film easily. Superman Batman Apocalypse. Now, I had a lot of hopes for this film going in. I knew nothing about it. I just knew Darkseid was in it. It had Superman and Batman, two of the greatest superheroes in all of DC, the two greatest superheroes in all of DC, and Darkseid is my favorite villain other than the Joker, so absolutely love Darkseid. If you're going to go a villain in DC, you can't go bigger than Darkseid, so I had high hopes for this film, and it disappointed me when I watched it. I wish it was better. I don't remember a lot from the story. I think the Batman Darkseid encounter towards the end is a standout moment, but everything else, all the Supergirl stuff, I can't really get behind. Wonder Woman's incorporation in the film I thought was just okay. I don't know, I just feel like so much in the movie could have been done better. So I'm going to put this in the D tier. Actually, I'm going to put it in the C tier because looking at Superman, Doomsday, and Gotham Knight, I would much rather watch Apocalypse over either of those. Now, All-Star Superman. I hate this movie, and I don't really know why. I just don't like how they portray Superman, specifically in the first half of the film. He's dying, of course, that's the concept of the movie and the comic that came before. But I don't like how they kind of make him look like a creep and a pervert towards Lois, like I'm not sure, it's all this stuff Lois is seeing, like, in the Fortress of Solitude, and it's like he has a backup robot of her or something. I don't know, it was really weird, I didn't like it at all, and just the voice casting I don't really like. The animation is fine. I think the animation in all these movies isn't a problem, but just the voice cast and the story itself, how they portray Superman, I just can't really get behind it, so I'm gonna put it in the F tier. I do not like this movie at all. Now, Batman Year One. This movie, I'm just not the biggest fan of. There's just so many Batman movies that I enjoy more, and this is an extremely popular comic. I know a lot of people like the movie. I think what really throws me off is the voice cast. Ben McKenzie as Batman, he just doesn't seem like Batman to me. He was a great Gordon in Gotham. I love him as Gordon, but he just doesn't have that Batman voice in my opinion, so that kind of throws me off in the movie, and just, I don't know, I don't really care about going through Batman's origin again. Like, I think Batman Begins did that perfectly, and if I want to see the origin of Batman, I'm just gonna go watch Batman Begins. And I do like him being portrayed as a vigilante. That's something we don't get too often anymore, so that's cool. I don't really like Catwoman as a prostitute. I'm not that big of a fan of Catwoman as it is, and putting her as a prostitute just, I don't know, I don't like that. So I'm gonna put it in the C tier. I don't hate it, but I don't like it as much as most people do. Now, Justice League Doom. This is a twist on the Tower of Babel comic, and I say twist because they replaced Ra's al Ghul with Vandal Savage, but it's about Batman's plans to take out the Justice League if he ever needed to, and that's just something I love. Batman and his contingency plans, showcasing how dangerous Batman really is and how capable he is of taking out any DC hero or anyone in the DC universe. I love the voice cast for this movie. Anytime you can get Kevin Conroy as Batman and most of the original Justice League cast back to voice the Justice League in a movie, it's absolutely phenomenal, I think. And the storytelling is pretty good, the character development is great, the Legion of Doom themselves, I like who they got. I like Bane for Batman, Cheetah for Wonder Woman, of course, Metallo for Superman, it makes sense. Just all the counterparts make sense, Mirror Master, and I like how they had the Royal Flush Gang at the beginning, kind of setting up the whole plot with Mirror Master and the Batmobile getting into the Batcave and getting Batman's plans. So I like how it was set up, I like how it was delivered, and I like the payoff of the Justice League coming together, and I really like that ending of them debating on whether Batman should stay in the Justice League or not, and that Batman-Superman encounter is just one of the greatest things I've seen ever. So I'm going to put Justice League Doom in the A tier. Superman vs. the Elite. This is my favorite Superman movie pretty easily, live action and all. I haven't seen the original Christopher Reeve Superman movie, so I don't know, I might like one of those more, but for right now, this is my favorite Superman movie, and this movie just encompasses who Superman is, I think. It shows why Superman is better than us for the most part. It shows why, although Superman is the most powerful superhero, his morals is what makes him so great. So for that, I'm going to put this in the A tier. Same thing I said about Crisis on Terror. I really enjoyed the film quite a bit, but compared to these other movies I'm going to be putting in the S tier along with Batman Under the Red Hood, I don't know if it quite compares. Now we have Batman The Dark Knight Returns Parts 1 and 2. I'm going to include them together, although I probably like 2 a bit more just because of the Joker and Superman stuff. And that's really the standout. There's a lot of standout moments in this. It's a really faithful adaptation. Although I haven't read the comic, I've heard that and I believe that. Everything to do with the mutant leader is great. Everything surrounding Batman, how he's gotten old, how he has to deal with that is amazing. Him having to get a new Robin and Carrie Kelly. Then in part 2, the whole thing with the Joker, once Joker sees that Batman's back, he snaps out of the catonic state he was in, which is absolutely amazing. Of course, Joker would snap out of it once he sees that Batman is back. And then the Batman-Superman showdown is just great, the best Batman vs. Superman fight I've seen on screen. And so many memorable quotes in the movie. This is an S tier movie, it's just great. Now another movie based on a very popular comic, Justice League, the Flashpoint Paradox, based on the Flashpoint comic. This is really the only Flash movie we've gotten, which is kind of ridiculous to say, isn't it? And it's one of the best DC movies ever. It's based on one of the most popular comics. It's based on one of the most popular superheroes. Somehow this is the only Flash movie, although it has Justice League in the title because Flash probably wouldn't have sold, because that's why they stopped making the Green Lantern and Wonder Woman movies. But nonetheless, Thomas Wayne Batman in the Flashpoint universe, absolutely amazing. One of my favorite versions of Batman. And I really like his interactions with Bruce, and then the final battle when he takes down Eobard to allow Barry to go fix his mistakes. And then that ending scene with Bruce and Barry is very emotional when he hands Bruce the letter. Like, similar to what I said about Doom, but I think this does it a bit better. The premise is set up amazingly, it delivers on that premise, the character interactions are great, and it has an emotional payoff. Something that Doom didn't really have. This has emotional investment and an emotional payoff. So for that, I'm going to put this in the S tier. I don't really like Justice League War. This is really just a movie that kind of goes nowhere for me. Like, there's no emotional investment. I can't really get invested in any of these characters because they don't really take too much time to flesh any of them out. It's just about the Justice League coming together to stop Darkseid, and it's really action-packed. There's not really much character in it. There are glimmers and glimpses of character, but it doesn't really take time to flesh any one character out, which is kind of disappointing. I'd say Cyborg and Shazam are probably the two that get the most character, which is kind of weird to say about a movie based on the Justice League coming together. But overall, I thought this was an extremely disappointing movie. I mean, it's a movie about the Justice League coming together to defeat Darkseid. That premise is absolutely amazing, but the delivery is just bland. So I'm going to put this in the D tier. Son of Batman, the best thing about this movie is probably Deathstroke. I like Deathstroke, although he's much better in Judas Contract because Miguel Ferrer is just perfect as Deathstroke. But I like the incorporation of Batman's world in the movie, and like I said, Deathstroke is by far the best part of the movie. Batman and Damian's dynamic starts to form, I guess, and I just don't like Damian at all in this movie. Batman, I don't really like Jason O'Mara as the voice. I think he begins to gradually get better as the voice of Batman as they go on in this universe, but there's just not much to this movie that I enjoy, so I'm gonna put it in the C tier. I mean, I don't really have any major negatives towards it. I just don't really enjoy it that much. Assault on Arkham. I enjoy this movie quite a bit. I enjoy it more than I actually thought I was going to going in. Now, it's supposed to be connected to the Arkham games, and that just throws in a lot of plot contrivances with the Arkham games, so I kind of just look at it as a standalone movie and not connected to the Arkham games. They do throw in some of Batman's rogues near the end that have similar designs, or the same designs really, as they do in the Arkham games. And that's my biggest problem with this movie, is they just throw a bunch of Batman's rogues in at the end and they get defeated basically immediately. They just wanted to show off his rogues, like, hey, this is connected to the Arkham games. And that wasn't needed. Everything before that I actually really like. I like how the Suicide Squad came together. I like how they were breaking into Arkham. I like how Batman's rogue's gear was shown off. Like, they found Mr. Freeze's freeze gun in the storage room or whatever. And Joker's incorporation, of course, he breaks out, and him and Harley, their dynamic starts to show, and there's like this weird love triangle between Deadshot, Harley, and Joker, and the showdown between Joker and Deadshot is really awesome, I think. And I think getting away with calling this a Batman movie is fair, because Batman's in it enough that it didn't need to be called the Suicide Squad movie. It should have been called a Suicide Squad movie because they are the main characters, but I think they put Batman and incorporate Batman into it enough, especially Batman's greater world, since Joker and Harley are such a big part of the movie and Joker isn't in the Suicide Squad. I think it's fine. So I'm going to put it in the B tier. I don't think it's amazing or anything, but it's a pretty enjoyable watch, and I'd rewatch it any day. Justice League Throne of Atlantis. Really, same thing I said about Son of Batman. There's not too much amazing stuff happening here. I do like Aquaman in the movie. I like how they portray Aquaman, and I like how he and the Justice League interact and how he becomes a member of the Justice League. And Orm is a really good villain. Sam Witwer voicing Orm was just fantastic. Sam Witwer is pretty awesome in anything he does, so if you throw him in there, I'm probably going to like it. But I'm going to put this in the C tier as well. I don't think it compares to some of the better movies. Batman vs. Robin. I think this is easily the best movie in the connected universe that we've gotten to so far. I think the Batman-Robin dynamic, or Batman-Bruce-Damian dynamic, is much better in this film than it was in Son of Batman, and I like how Damian has kind of been trying to force himself to do what Batman had taught him. He's trying to deliver justice in the way Batman wants him to. Justice, not vengeance, that's the whole thing. But Talon comes along and kills Dollmaker. Batman thinks Damian did it, so that creates this whole conflict between them, and Talon's kind of in this triangle with them, and Damian has to make a choice, and it delivers on the title Batman vs. Robin. And then the end sequence in the cave with the Talons versus Batman and Dick is just really great. It's a really good action scene. You got some of Alfred in there fighting. So I think this improved upon a lot of things Son of Batman didn't do that well, so I'm going to put it in the B tier. I really love Justice League Gods and Monsters, and that's in large part due to the twist and how interesting the alternate versions of Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman really are. They are very interesting. The spins on their characters are done extremely well and showcased extremely well throughout the movie. And it just adds this extra element to their character, and I really love it, especially Superman, how he was raised among like raised in an immigrant family. I like how Batman is Kirk Langstrom and he's a vampire. Kirk Langstrom, of course, being the Man-Bat. So that was really cool, and I like how Wonder Woman has to do with the new Genesis Apocalypse. I don't specifically remember what happened there. I really need to rewatch this movie because I remember really enjoying it. And in large part due to the twist, I didn't see it coming. And also the incorporation of the greater DC universe throughout. There are several scientists named throughout, like Victor Fries and Ray Palmer, which is just awesome. So I'm going to put this in the A tier. Bad Blood is kind of a cross between Batman vs. Robin and Son of Batman for me. And by that I mean, I think it does more right than Son of Batman did, but I don't think it's as good as Batman vs. Robin is. I do like the incorporation of the Bat family, the greater Bat family with Batwoman and Batwing. I think they are incorporated pretty well. They use a lot of lesser Batman villains in this movie, but they incorporate some newer Batman villains as well, like the Heretic, and just a lot of lesser known Batman villains that half people probably don't even know. But they have some, like Mad Hatter, that you'll definitely recognize. And I do enjoy this movie a lot, but I don't think it's as good as Batman vs. Robin, so I'm going to put it in the C tier. Justice League vs. Teen Titans. This is a movie I was kind of bored with when I watched it the first time, but I think it's a movie that gets much better on rewatches because each time I've rewatched it, I probably rewatched it about 2 times. Both those times I enjoyed it more and more. And this movie doesn't really deliver on the title very well. They fight for like 3 minutes, but I really like how big of a threat Trigon was and how the Teen Titans were really the ones to save the day. So I'm going to put this in the B tier. Okay, The Killing Joke. Now, a lot of people really hate this movie, and I kind of agree with that. But I don't think it's absolutely awful because I think the actual Killing Joke part, like the last 30 minutes or so of the movie, is pretty good. It's the first half that's the problem. The Batgirl stuff and the weird stuff that they do with the Batgirl-Batman dynamic, I'm not for all that. I don't enjoy that whatsoever. So really, if I ever rewatch this movie, I'm just going to fast forward to like the 40-minute mark and watch it from there. Because I do think the Joker stuff is really good and interesting, and I think Mark Hamill gives a great performance. And I really like Batman and Joker's interactions as well. But like I said, the first half brings this movie down quite a bit. Which is why I'm going to put it in the D tier. Justice League Dark. I really do like this movie, and that's in large part thanks to John Constantine. Constantine is one of my favorite DC characters. I really like him. And Matt Ryan's a big part of that, and I'm glad they got Matt Ryan to voice Constantine in this movie. And I really like that Batman's incorporated into this as well. I like how the Justice League is incorporated into it. And I like that we have John Stewart Green Lantern, actually, because John Stewart is my favorite Green Lantern, so I like to see that we have more than Hal Jordan Green Lantern that is involved with the Justice League. But I really liked Batman's interactions with all these magical characters. Like, he already knew Zatanna, and he knew that they needed to find John Constantine to defeat this greater evil. And I did like all the magical heroes' interactions with each other, forming some type of Justice League Dark. I also like Swamp Thing's incorporation into the film. It's not like a Batman and Harley Quinn scenario where they tease him. They show him for like 30 seconds and he's gone. They kind of tease him and then they show him. It's for longer than 30 seconds though. So I'm going to put Justice League Dark in the B tier. I really enjoy this movie. Teen Titans The Judas Contract. Now, the only thing that brings this movie down for me is I just don't like Terror or Beast Boy throughout the film. I've never been a Beast Boy fan. I know that's probably going to upset a lot of people, but I'm sorry, I just don't really like him as a character. He seems to always annoy me no matter what he's in. Now, I don't hate him, but he just gets on my nerves at times. And Tara, same thing with her. She was just getting on my nerves in this movie. And the whole thing with Deathstroke is really weird, but I like that they make this one-sided. I don't think that it was one-sided in the comic, which was really weird. They don't make Deathstroke look like a pedophile in this movie, which isn't up for me. The Deathstroke Nightwing fight is absolutely awesome. Just how Deathstroke takes out each and every one of the Titans is cool, and I just really like Deathstroke. He's one of my favorite villains, so this is going the A tier for me. Okay, I've been going a very long time, so I'm going to try to get through these next 5 movies really fast. Batman Gotham by Gaslight, really enjoyed this movie. I know it did a spin on the comic, and I was not expecting the Ripper to be who it was, and I kind of think I should have been, which makes this movie more enjoyable on rewatch in my opinion, because going back you can look for those context clues that they do give. I really like Selina in the movie, and I just really like how Batman's world is portrayed in this Elseworld story. So I'm going to put this in the A tier. I don't like Hell to Pay as much as I like Assault on Arkham. I do like the cast of characters they use in this movie though. I like how it's different from that of Assault on Arkham, and I like how Flashpoint is connected to this movie because of how Reverse Flash is incorporated in the film. I'm sorry if you haven't seen it, I just spoiled it, but anyway, Hell to Pay, I'm going to put in the C tier. The Death of Superman, this is much better than Superman Doomsday. I think this is the best adaptation of the Death of Superman comic. Of course, this is really only the second one, but I haven't read the comic course, but I heard it's an almost perfect adaptation, a really faithful adaptation, and it's done extremely well, so I'm going to put that in the A tier. This is really the most I've liked Superman in this connected universe, at least. And it's really the first movie he got any character that I can recall. Now, Reign of the Superman, I thought this was a super disappointing sequel to The Death of Superman. I think it's a much lesser film, and I really don't like much about it. I don't like Cyborg Superman. I don't really like Lex Luthor in the film. I don't like how the Justice League is utilized in the film. I do like the Darkseid setup, how it's set up that Darkseid is returning, so that's really cool. Superboy was okay, I didn't really like him. Still, I did kind of like the different versions of the Superman, but overall, this movie was just disappointing and pretty bland, so I'm going to put it in the D tier. I really don't enjoy it. Now, Batman Hush. I like this movie a lot more than some people I've been seeing. Some people really don't like it, and that's in large part due to the fact that it doesn't stay faithful to the comic. Like, by that I mean it does do its own thing. It takes inspiration from the comic, but it doesn't do a straight adaptation of the comic. So if that's what you're expecting, just know that they don't do that. It's not a fully faithful adaptation. And I literally just reviewed this movie, so if you want to hear my full thoughts on it, go check that out. But I'm going to leave this with putting Batman Hush in the B tier. So I rearranged all the movies in the tier list to better showcase my ranking of the movies. Favorite being Under the Red Hood, least favorite being All-Star Superman, from best to worst. So let me know your tier ranking down in the comments below. What's your favorite movie? What's your least favorite movie? Be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys sometime.